Hi, good afternoon, everybody. In this video, we're going to take a look at a trade proposal. We're going to do a trade with the Minnesota Wild coming up. All right, folks, before we get on this, I'll give the shout out. The shout out goes to the Wolf Doctor, and I'll throw the clip so you can see it. He says, just a thought, Minnesota, Dumba and Ryan Johnson part of or involved in a trade. I like the idea of that right away. So I said, you know what, that makes for a good video. So thanks, Wolf Doctor. I'm going to use that for a video, and we'll discuss it a bit. Now, we've got some players who I wouldn't be surprised are moved, okay? I know that some of you guys don't think some players are tradable. Believe me, everybody in this league is tradable. Everybody. And, you know, as crazy as it sounds, you know, a guy named Wayne Gretzky was traded. So anybody can be traded in this league if it's a fit, right, for the team. I mean, if the team sees fit that, hey, this is going to help us in the future, they're going to do it. The Gretzky move was mostly a money move. There's a trivia question, guys. You know, like, what's the dumbest trade in NHL history? And I guarantee 9 out of 10 of you won't say Gretzky, but Gretzky was the dumbest trade in NHL history. It just was. You don't trade the best player on earth in the prime of his career. You just don't, you know, and his prime would have lasted like that much longer, as we've seen in LA. Okay, so let's take a look, though, getting on some potential guys that could be moved, okay, and forwards. I think Mittelstadt could be moved. I'm giving guys that would get something back, okay? There's other guys like Bjork and all that. I don't want to mention all the names that could be traded. No, I mean, let's just go with the main guys that could be traded. I could see Mittelstadt traded. He's one of our high-end prospects, a high first-rounder. Hasn't panned out yet. Showed signs of it last year, not the season that passed, the season before. And then when Granato took over. And then last year, he just couldn't get his season on track. And Victor Olofsson, I could see as a potential trade because Olofsson might demand too much. He just might, guys. He might. If he demands a reasonable contract, then he stays. But if he demands something like $8 million a year, 7.5, there's not much we're going to be able to do there, I think. But that would also make trouble to trade him as well. And really on the blue line, I can't really see any maybe potentially a Jacob Bryson, potentially. But would it fetch a lot? Probably not at this point, you know. Yoki Haru, I could see as the most potential to get something back as well. So looking at those three guys, what I did, okay, and I'm going to propose a trade. And that's what I want you guys to do in this video. Propose a trade with the two players, okay? Dumba and Ryan Johnson have to be part of the deal going the other way. So what I'm going to do, and I wrote it down, I got my trade, I got Ryan Johnson and Casey Mittelstadt going for Matt Dumba and Marcus Foligno. Now, I know Foligno's older, but he is a major element that we lack on the Sabres, and how we ever let this guy get traded was, we were out of our mind. You know, you just don't lose a big physical forward like Marcus Foligno. But this is a trade I would make because it would probably work for both teams. I could see Mittelstadt going to Minnesota, doing well there. And Ryan Johnson, I'm sure, would have no problem, even if he's not, even if we're just signing his rights. I'm absolutely positive he'd be thrilled to sign in Minnesota. And Matt Dumba, as we know, they've been trying to move him for years, and he's a right-shot defenseman, guys, so there you go. And Marcus Foligno brings an element of toughness and physicality that we need on this team desperately, desperately. So this is the trade I have. Now, I could have thrown out a name like, you know, Olofsson out there, but it's just, I think we could get more than that if it was a guy like Olofsson, because Olofsson is a proven 20-goal guy. He has a cannon for a shot, and he just is pretty one-dimensional, the problem with his game. He's pretty much just has offensive swing, and that's about it on his entire game. You know, he doesn't exactly play a hard-nosed game out there. That's what we need, though. We need to get some guys like that to protect guys like Olofsson on our team. This is why we need to get these kind of guys. We've got to get tougher this year. We absolutely, without a doubt, guys, have to get tougher this year. We cannot continue pretending it's okay to have a soft team. We can't, because I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to be talented enough to go deep. I don't mean in the playoffs. I'm talking deep into a run to get into the playoffs. And then late in the year, when everybody's really gearing up and getting ready for the playoffs, you know, and they're going to take us a little more serious than they did last year. And all of a sudden, we're just running into teams. And depending on the schedule, that's another thing. We don't know what the schedule will be, right? So there's all that. I think if we have a team that we get into the playoffs with and we're non-physical, we're finished anyway. And then everybody's going to be disappointed. We lost the first round like 4-1 or something because we just weren't physical and we weren't ready. We weren't ready to do anything. And I'd rather be ready ahead of time, guys. I'd rather have physical players on this team ahead of time. So when we get into a playoff situation, we make the most of it our first go around, not our third or fourth. When we got all those contracts kicking in and we're going crazy in a few years from now trying to figure out the money because we're going to need that money. This is why we cannot eat up all that cap in the next few years. We have to be smart. We do. We have to be smart because we've got guys coming into contracts that are going to need them, going to need to get paid, going to need to get paid a bit more, some of them a lot more. And I won't mention Tage Thompson's name in that department, but what do you guys think? Would you make a deal like this? Because yes, we're taking on some cap doing this, but this would help stabilize our defense a little. Having Dumba on the team wouldn't hurt. I mean, it would hurt. Everybody wants the right side fixed. I get that. Do we do it with a tougher defenseman than Dumba? Probably. If it was my choice, I'd go after a guy like Gudas for sure. And for those of you that can't stand Gudas, good. That's exactly what we need on this team, guys. I've said it over and over again. That's what we need. We need players that you hate, okay? We need guys like that on this team. So when we're playing opponents and we're going on West Coast trips, we don't get bullied around. We don't get pushed around. We don't have to worry about our rookie getting a shot in the head from a guy like Domi. We don't have to worry about things like that. We have to just go out there, play hard, play physical, and have that blue-collar mentality again like we used to have for a very long time. We need to get back to that. We do. We need to get back to respectability, guys. I can't stress it enough. It's too much sometimes to watch this team get bullied in games. It's too much for me. It is. You see me. I rant to my videos because I get fed up with it. I get fed up when we go on trips. I get fed up when we're at home and we look empty, when a big hit could turn the game. You know, people think it's just a big goal that turns the game around. No. Then my mentality is you haven't played on competitive hockey if you believe that, because I'm telling you right now, you know, when I was playing in my AA days, guys, no matter what, a big hit, and you feel like you just scored. You're on the bench laughing at one of your teammates, what they just did, and man, you can't wait to get out there. So it is important to get physical, this team. It is important. Do we have to be the most physical? No. We have to have a balance, though. We can't be soft in one area and great at another. That's not going to work. Got to be a team like Tampa. Tampa has the whole package, guys. They're physical and they're offensive. And they got great goaltending. They got the whole package and good coaching. They got all the package there. They've had it for years before they won the Stanley Cup. But you've seen the pressure that did to them when they lost to Columbus. Tortorella exposed them physically in that series. Go back and look at the clips of it and you'll see. He exposed them physically. And then they got mean and ugly the next year and they won the Stanley Cup. And yes, there was the pandemic and everything, which of course played into whatever way you want to look at it. But you know what I'm saying? You get to a point you're so fed up with losing that you're terrified of it. You just don't want to go near the idea of losing again. And I think that's what Tampa Bay kicked in last game, guys, in their last game when they eliminated the Rangers. I think that team, those players that lost that series 4 straight, that haunted them in that dressing room when they were down 2-0 and they came back. And that is the kind of team we want to have eventually. We want to emulate those type of teams, okay? We don't want to emulate a team that hasn't won a championship. We just don't. I always look at what have the champions done? Where did they start? And they always, guys, always have played physical in the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup. And that's why this year Colorado's in the finals. They finally pulled up their pants and said, you know what, we're not taking this crap anymore. We're hitting back. And they did. And they did. And they're right now going to be hard to stop, Colorado. Very hard to stop. Especially if they come and throw 35 hits a game at this defending champs. They're going to have to. If they go out there and they think they can throw 20 hits a game while they're throwing 35, forget it. Forget it. Because they're going to match them in will, no matter what anyway. So anyways, that's it, guys. I'm going to get on. I'm just looking at my list here. My goodness, I got a list for you. Would you do this trade? Yes or no? If not, what trade would you guys do? Because think about it. Look at their roster. And, you know, I was looking at a lot of things, though, about their roster, too. So it was, you know, there's cap to take into consideration with Minnesota. And there's also our cap that we can afford to spend as well, especially if these contracts are only for a few years, but it would bring an element to the team next year that we need. Because it's important, guys, we're competitive next year. It's important. We can't just be proud that the team worked hard. Not next year. No, next year we have to win more than we lose. End of discussion there. Seriously. We have to make a run for a playoff spot next year, not the year after, next year. That's it. I'm done my rant. All right. So that's my trade proposal with Minnesota. And if you have one, let me know it. I do read the notes, as you know, guys. I'm sorry it took so long to get to them. I'm caught up now. I'm going to get on a roll with some videos. See you in those.